The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League. This week on the Panthers Huddle, Coach Dave Canales and the crew look ahead to our Week 8 opponent, the Denver Broncos. Plus, step inside TD's film room as he breaks down the playmakers waiting for us in the Mile High City. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle. Kristen Balboni here with my partner in crime, Thomas Davis. TD, we are just going to get right into it. Tough loss for the Panthers in Washington against the Commanders. I just want to get your thoughts right away on what happened in that loss.
KB, the first thing that stood out to me in this game was how we didn't really show much resistance defensively when we took the field on Sunday. You know, I know we had some miscues offensively, but defensively, we've always been a stalwart and been able to hold our own. And I just feel like from the start of that game to the finish, we didn't do a great job of really stopping Washington from doing anything.
And I know this hurts you to hear, but the Panthers allowing 162 yards on the ground this season. That's the average. How does that get better?
You know, it gets better by just going back to the drawing board. And I think the injuries are taking a part in what's going on, a huge part in what's going on. Whenever you lose a guy like Derrick Brown and, you know, Shaq Thompson, Josie Jewell, when the list goes on, right, of guys that we've lost. But what it also does, it creates an opportunity for some other guys to step up. And so far, we haven't had guys to really step up and take command of those positions. Because if you can't make a team one-dimensional by taking the run away, it's going to be a very, very long day for you defensively. Well,
and that's the next thing I want to talk about is that they're also having a good amount of trouble generating pass rush. So how do you fix that too? You know,
it starts by stopping the run, KB, and it just really speaks to we haven't been able to do that. When you allow a team to go out there and have balance, defensively it's going to be a nightmare for you because now the offense can come out and as a defender, I'm lined up, I don't know what's coming. When you're off balance and you don't know what's about to happen, you can't just pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. And a big part of the problem is teams are getting into third and short situations, which usually are your pass rush downs where you come away with a lot of sacks, and we haven't been in those situations.
And of course, every coach in the NFL wants to win the turnover battle. The Panthers have struggled with that all season long and certainly in this game against Washington. What do you want to see in order to gain more turnovers defensively? You know,
I think it's something that we just have to do a better job of making sure that these guys understand the importance of it, because when you practice it, it shows up. And I'm not seeing enough shots on the ball. The peanut punch, I'm not seeing that when guys have the opportunity to go in and make tackles. I'm not seeing enough guys having vision and reacting to the ball being thrown. And like I said, a lot of that is because we've been so off balance. We have so much inconsistency defensively where guys can't really focus in on taking the football away because we are really sitting here doing all this talk about making sure that we make the tackle. You know, so those are some of the things that this defense has to really hone in on, because if we don't get the job done defensively, it's going to be tough to win football games.
All right, TD, I appreciate all that insight, and we are going to get insight from head coach Dave Canales coming up after the break.
First of all, I'm sure you've heard Andy Dalton was in a car accident yesterday with his family, with JJ and the kids. And a scary moment for sure. Everyone was okay. Everyone was healthy. Unfortunately, in the accident, he did sprain his thumb. So Bryce will be playing this week for us, and we'll be evaluating Andy day to day going into this weekend to see if we can get him up as the 2 on game day.
Yeah, it was scary. You know, first time for them to kind of go through something like that. They were pretty shaken up by it, and I think everybody's healthy, which was the number one thing that we were thankful for, and now it's you know, great lesson for us as parents, for them as kids, to make sure you have your seatbelt on, all the things that kind of go into it, and the priority of and the importance of all that.
You know, me and Andy are super close, you know, I was just worried for him at the time. Glad that him and his family are okay, you know, obviously, like, big picture wise, but yeah, that was really the first thing that was on my mind. Again, for me, my job is always, no matter what, to be the same level of preparation. You know, obviously that's just part of the business. You always have to prepare like you're going to play no matter where it is. So it didn't change my approach or anything.
Coming up, Coach Canalis joins Kristen and TD as they look ahead to facing Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos on the Panthers Huddle. This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Walking off the field, and my dad's there, hustling back from work to make a game. He never got to play sports. He never got to play. He had polio. And nobody really told him how he could do it, how he could get it done, but he was always our champion, my brothers and I. He didn't know anything about the sports we were playing. He learned, I mean, he watched the sports and all that, but he would always start off with, Mijo, what do I know? But it looks like you could do this or that. And if you don't do anything else, hustle.
Hustle, work hard. Don't ever quit.
You can always out-hustle somebody.
My dad may have never donned the Narbonne High School jersey, but he played sandlot football. Them stories of playing football there in the hall is why we have Dave Canales coaching the Carolina Panthers.
All right, welcome back to the Huddle. We are here with head coach Dave Canales. And Coach, we just got to watch that clip from Life of a Panther with you. I tell you what, I got emotional watching that entire show. Tell me about what it was like to see all of this.
Unbelievable. Just the reminders of, and really humbling beginnings, where it all started, and just, you know, just the willingness to meet needs and like take the need right in front of me. What gifts do I have to give to this place or that, and just be willing to go into it, you know, with a bigger sense of purpose. Really fortunate to have a family that kind of created those roots in me and my brothers in our family to be able to enter into those different environments.
Absolutely.
Coach, usually when we mention, you know, keeping your confidence level high, but we have two guys in Trevin Wallace and Smith Wade that are getting some very, very valuable reps right now. Even though the defense has been struggling, what are some of the things that you hope that they take away from these reps that they're getting moving forward in their young career?
Yeah, there's two ways to answer that, right? Because you talk about the big picture, you know, perspective and appreciation of what it takes to find success in this league, how hard it is, you know, and I think sometimes you get into teams and you can take it for granted, you know, winning and losing. And we're learning it on this end of it. And certainly you and I have been on the other side of it where you're winning and how challenging it is to come back to work to sustain success.
Yep.
So there's lessons in both. And then of course the practical part of just being out there playing, getting the calls, seeing the way that offenses try to attack, the different ways receivers will stem a route for Trevin, you know, different run styles every week. You got a new offense, a running quarterback, not a running quarterback, a power team, an outside zone team, you know, and just all the different things that are thrown at you, you know, and there's no better way to learn it than to just be out there.
Coach, you faced off against Vance Joseph several times over the course of your career, and particularly in 2019 to 2022 being in the same division. What are some of the difficulties that a scheme like his offers our offense?
He's an aggressive style of play caller, and he's calculated with how he does it, though. So he wants to find that knockout punch. And then he's got just great base principles in how they play their zones. And he inspires his guys to be excited about the plan. It looks like a really fun defense to play in, you know, because of that style. And for the offense, it makes execution and being on top of our, you know, checks and balances at a premium.
All right, so this team, the Broncos team that you'll be facing, started out 0-2. They've now won 4 out of their last 5. You just talked about what Vance Joseph and that defense can do. Tell me about the offense and how they've continued to improve week over week as you watch the tape.
Yeah, I think they're playing great complementary football. So the defense is certainly the principles, the things we talked about. And then offensively, their commitment to the run game, the commitment to building their offense and incrementally growing it. Something that Sean Payton is really good at over the years is that he'll look at the offense and he'll say, okay, what are the few things we can do really well? And then let's just start adding pieces, and so nobody better that knows how to do it than him.
TD knows that.
Absolutely. We talked about that. So usually, Coach, when you face against a defense, there's usually a guy on a front seven that you can pinpoint that's a superstar that's getting after the quarterback. And the Broncos lead the league in quarterback pressures. And there's nobody that I can look at on that defense and say that, hey, that's the superstar. How are they able to have so much success in getting after the quarterback? And I know we just talked about Van Joseph's scheme, but is there something else that allows them to do that?
Yeah, it's relentless pursuit, and it's commitment from the first guys and the depth. So you got Benito and Cooper, and then here comes Browning. Here comes Ellis. So you have guys that just keep stepping in and going. You got a guy like Zach Allen who's nonstop. And I think that accountability from the entire front five and how they attack the run, how they attack the pass game, it trickles all the way through the defense, and it really gets them to a point where they play so hard as a group. They're committed to it.
Well, they're going to be going up against this offensive line, which has been a strength of this team the entire season. What are you telling those guys? What is the coaching that goes into the line play this week, and how confident are you that they're going to be the better unit on that side of the ball?
It all starts with us. It starts with execution and making sure that our communication happens inside out. We're targeted properly in the pass protections. We're targeted properly in the run game. Just the technique that requires your footwork, your hands, your helmet placement, all those things have to be on point when the team plays as hard and as relentless as they do. You have to play all the way through the whistle. There's not going to be a one-shot block. You're going to have to hit them, bring your feet, and just keep driving all the way until the whistle blows.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. We appreciate the time. And look, we highly recommend that everyone go check out the full episode of Life of a Panther. You can see that on the Panthers YouTube. Thanks again, Coach.
Up next, Kristen and TD share their thoughts on this mile-high matchup in this week's Spotlight on the Panthers Huddle. Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
All right, it is time now for our Coke Spotlight, and of course we are spotlighting the Denver Broncos. And TD, you have quite the history with their head coach, Sean Payton.
Absolutely. There is definitely a hate-hate relationship with this guy. Sean Payton is one of those guys, KB, as a player you would love to play for him because he's cutthroat. If he gets you down, he's going to try to bury you. He's going to try to put as many points on you as he possibly can. That's why we got to do a great job defensively of making sure that we're taking the football away, that we're stopping them from running the ball, and we're forcing them to become one-dimensional because Sean Payton is a guy that thrives on having balance.
Well, and speaking of that, one thing that he is doing a lot this year with the Broncos is he is incorporating the running backs into the passing game. They have the most running back receptions of any team in the league so far.
Listen, that has always been a staple of a Sean Payton offense. When you go back to the guys that he had when he was with the Saints, he had Reggie Bush for a long time. Then he had Alvin Kamara. Yes. And historically, those guys were always at the top of the league when it came to receiving the ball out of the backfield and making sure that he put them in situations where they can run these little option routes, getting the ball to them in space, allowing them to utilize their athleticism. And he's doing it right now with the Denver Broncos. That's going to always be a staple of what Sean Payton always does offensively.
And then moving over to the defense, something that this defense is very good at is rushing the passer. They have the most quarterback pressures of any team in the NFL. What do the Panthers need to look out for?
We just got to understand that these are not guys that are everyday names. When you go and you look at their roster, it's not like you're going against a Max Crosby or some of the elite pass rushers. But week in and week out, these guys are getting the job done. They make sure that they're executing that scheme to a T, and they're coming away with a lot of pressures, a lot of sacks. So we got to make sure that we know every formation that they're lining up in. We got to know what they're blitzing out of. And we got to make sure that when these guys are lined up in front of you, it's man on man, you got to whoop the man across from you, and that's what this offensive line has done all season long, and I absolutely feel like they're going to do that against the Broncos as well.
You mentioned some of those guys up front not being household names, but a guy that certainly a lot of NFL fans know a lot about is Patrick Surtain. What does he do so well?
Listen, this kid has been a competitor from the day he stepped foot into the NFL. He has put the league on notice to let them know that I am an elite player, and I'm going to be that for the duration of my career. And all he has done since he's been in Denver is shut down team's #1 receiver and take the football away. So I absolutely love everything that Patrick Surtain brings to their defense.
All right, speaking of that pick six, TD is going to break it down at the board and some of the other things that Denver does so well. That is right after this.
When we return, join us in TD's film room as he breaks down the Broncos playmakers on the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome inside TD's film room. TD, we are going to go to the board. So we talked about what Sean Payton does well. Now we are going to see it on film, and we're going to start with what he's doing with Bo Nix.
Yes, the work that he's done with Bo Nix from the start of the season, KB, to where he is right now absolutely shows the growth and the maturity of this 24-year-old rookie in Bo Nix. So we're going to jump right into this film and show you this is a Sean Payton gem right here. As you look at this play as it gets ready to develop, as a linebacker, what they do on this play is like smoke and mirrors. You can see Demario Davis right here. Instantly, his eyes go to this guy that's going in motion. Usually, when you have a fast flow play like this, your eyes are going this way. You see Demario and some of these defenders going this way. Sometimes it's in a man situation. You got to get your eyes on your luggage. But what does Sean Payton do? He pulls the guard and the tackle up top to create a quarterback sweep. A quarterback sweep is something like he used to do with Taysom Hill. You see it coming to life right here, and watch how Bo Nix execute this play. We have to do a great job of making sure that we understand that this kid is just not a pocket passer. He's not just going to sit back there. If the play breaks down, he's not going to be afraid to pull the ball down and run. He actually looks kind of fast on this play right now, except for when he tripped right there. Come on, man. But at the end of the day, we got to understand and know that Sean Payton has trust in this kid.
Yep.
He knows and understands what his limitations are, and you've seen Bo Nix grow over the course of this season. That's why they've won 4 of their last 5 games, because of the maturation process of Bo Nix.
Certainly the Panthers don't want to see him take another step forward in this game
Not
against Carolina. Let's talk about the defense. They are ball hawks. We just talked about Patrick Surtain a little bit earlier, but once again, you are going to show us on film what he does so well.
Yes, Patrick Surtain is a really, really great player. He's been that since his rookie year.
Yep.
From day one, he's been making plays for the Denver Broncos. We're going to jump right into this play right now and show you this is not really something that Patrick Surtain did a great job of. The defender does a great job of getting in the quarterback's vision and forcing an errant throw, making the quarterback elevate this throw over his arms. And what does that do? It leads to this Patrick Surtain pick six. 100 yards in Denver is like running 190 yards in any other field, but he's used to it. It's his home field. Guys taking the ball to the house a lot like his dad used to do back in the day. But if you watch this play right now, watch the way that they do a great job of having vision, and instantly, once the quarterback draws his arm back, he doesn't really jump and get in the air, because that's what coaches always teach us as defenders coming off the edge, going at the quarterback. If you jump, they're going to pull the ball down, and he's going to have a wide open running lane to the end zone. So he just kind of runs, gets his hands up, and forces this errant throw, and they're very opportunistic. He's coming away with it, and they're putting 6 on the board. That's something that this offense cannot allow Denver to do.
I just want to say, I would need so much oxygen after that.
Oh, everybody needs oxygen. If you remember Julius Peppers catching the touchdown, going 99 yards, Pep told me that was the most fatigue he had ever been on the football field.
That elevation.
Because that mile-high elevation is real.
All right, we just showed some great teamwork. We are going to see even more of that with Jaquan McMillan setting up Cody Barton for a great opportunity, right, TD?
Yes, a great opportunity. And this, to me, was all scheme. This was all devised by the coaching staff. We're going to run this play, take it back. We're going to take this play back right here so you can see the initial setup of these guys. Right now, if you're a quarterback and you're lined up and you're watching this play, you cannot tell who's blitzing, who's coming. Right now, to me, it looks like these 4 guys are rushing the passers, and these guys are getting ready to play zone defense. But at the snap of the ball, instantly, it goes from a 4-man rush to a 6-man rush, and they couldn't block it up. And it's another rookie quarterback, and Spencer Rattler, he made a bad decision. He tried to throw the ball under pressure instead of just eating it and living to play the next down by just taking a sack. He just sat here. He tried to get the ball out of his hand. He didn't really feel the pressure. We got to understand and know that when pressure is coming, the worst play that you can make sometimes is trying to throw that ball away. Sometimes you just got to eat the sack and lose the yardage and line up and play the next play. But when you end up with guys having issues losing the ball, that's how you end up losing the turnover battle, and that's how these guys end up putting up points defensively instead of allowing the offense to have to go out and earn those points.
One of the only situations where taking the sack is preferable, right?
Absolutely. Whenever you have an opportunity to take a sack or have a turnover, go down.
You got to go, absolutely. TD, it is always so fascinating to watch the same film that we know this team is watching. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, KB. We just got to make sure that they have their eyes exactly where they need to be, and we can come away with some big plays against the Denver Broncos.
All right, speaking of eyes being exactly where they need to be, we appreciate your eyes watching us right here on the Panthers Huddle. For Thomas Davis, I'm Kristen Balboni. We'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.